Oh boy, it's been a while since I've made a whiteboard video. In this video, I'm going to share with you the secret around really building wealth in 2024. I'm going to simplify it with some practical advice that you can follow whether you're going and building a $2 million portfolio or you're simply saving for your first deposit. If you guys are interested, then definitely keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, cryptocurrency, and financial freedom. As we edge closer into 2024, and you might be watching this in January of 24, so what's up? You can go ahead and download my free ebook, which you'll find in the link in the description below, as well as the pinned comment. And that's gonna help you get your mindset right when it comes to real estate and building a portfolio. Whether you're ready now, whether you're ready in 12 months, it's gonna help you immensely. So the goal is we wanna grow in 2024. And the three key pillars are going to be your mindset, strategy, and execution. And we're going to break down each one in a second here. When it comes to mindset, we've really got to ask ourselves why. So when you're doing something specifically like I want to save $10,000, chances are you're going to execute with a lot more conviction when you have a strong purpose. So why do I want to save $10,000 this year? And it might be because the following year you want to travel. So you're saying, okay, I want to take my family on a holiday. I need $10,000 this year, which means every week I need to save about $200. If you don't have that why, it means at the end of the week, if you have the surplus of $200 and someone calls you up and says,
hey Ravi, let's go get some KFC.
You're gonna be like,
yeah, cool. I've got an extra $200 anyway.
So I'll go and spend it. So that strong conviction is really driven by the purpose. So when you're going out and making your plans for 24, just know that your mindset is really driven by your conviction, and that's going to be attached to why you're doing something. Next up is your strategy. So you can have the mindset of going, this is why I want to do it, but how am I going to do it is the question you need to ask next. And that's where your strategy comes into place. Your strategy and your risk appetite will basically live together and will determine what risks you're willing to take or what actions you're willing to take based on your risk profile. I like to personally focus on my end goal. Now, everything moves very quickly in my world, very volatile, and that's largely because I'm self-employed, I run my own company, and so in that, I could have earnings that are really good this month and then not so good the next month. If I'm scaling up my business and I'm hiring more people, then I'm probably gonna see increases in expenses relative to the income which comes later. In your case, you might be going, well, I'm training at the moment, but in 3 years' time, my income drastically improves. So that's why I like to start with the end goal, which is, loosely based on living debt-free, living with choice, retiring early, and having everyone around me also do the same. Then I'll work backwards and say, okay, what can I realistically plan for with a high level of conviction and certainty? And that's really about a 3 to 5 year window that I can see max out for. So once you've got the why and you know how you're gonna do it, you need to know how you're gonna execute. So in order to execute this plan, can you do it yourself? Can you go out there, research, learn everything you need to know about stock investing, about cryptocurrency, about assets, about real estate, about building up your career? There's a lot to handle, right? So if you say that I'm gonna go and do all of these things, if your priority that year is not to have a life, then you probably do quite well. But based on a lot of the people I speak to, including myself, because I do speak to myself and I happen to be quite entertaining, I like to live the balanced life. I like to have a balanced approach. That's why I outsource everything I can possibly outsource. That comes down to not just my business life, but also personal life. I know that I will do a really shitty job when it comes to cleaning my apartment. So I'm gonna say, well, okay, I could do a shitty job every week, which will probably be about 2 hours and it's really not gonna be that great. Or I can outsource that and have a cleaner come every 3 to 4 weeks, and that way it's always maintained. The cleaner's happy because they get paid. I'm happy because I've got a cleaner space, which means a cleaner mind, and that means I can perform optimally because I work from home. The same thing happens with real estate. I see it all the time when it comes down to execution. You can have all the education in the world, go out and do every course possible. You can learn everything you want about data, statistics around real estate, but unless you're gonna go and put pen on paper and actually buy a property, it means nothing. It's similar to if you go out there and say, I've got this workout plan, I've got this meal plan, I already know what to do, I'm gonna get that 10% body fat or whatever my goals are, I can do that. But simply looking at the plans without executing that first push-up means you aren't gonna get anywhere closer to that goal. So when you're outsourcing, you need to know where is your resource being used effectively, and maybe you can improve and optimize the speed at which you execute. The new year goal for many people will be build wealth. We're in such a wacky period where the economy is slowing down inherently, but you've got stocks at almost all-time highs if they're not already past that. You've got property at all-time high, and that's just in Australia. Overseas, the same sort of stuff's happening, but the economy underneath is crumbling. So as we see all of these things happen around us, we want to have more choice. We want to have more accountability for our actions and for our future. So building wealth is super important to you. And that's why we're going to figure out what we need to do. And it starts with the bare basics, which is we need to sort out our finances. So first up, when we're sorting out our finances, we need to think of our finances like a meal plan. If it's not in the plan, you're not allowed to eat it. So if you think about your daily calories and you say, okay, I can only eat this much. Otherwise, if I eat more than this, I will put on weight and that's going against my goals. That's the exact same way finances work. If you say I need to save this portion of my income, if I spend over that, it means I'm going to have a deficit at the end of the year. And if I don't spend as much, I can save more, and that means I can go and splurge later on, or I can go and use that savings towards investments as well. Now it starts with your budget, and I would focus on the major expenses first. So if it's a holiday, a car, or maybe it's your health. And the way I would break this down would say, okay, I need to look at what my major expenses are for the year. And that might be, I'm planning for a holiday in September. Great. That's a yearly plan. Next up, I'm going to see monthly, what are my biggest expenses? Might be private health insurance. So that's monthly. And then I'm going to look at what's my biggest cost weekly. And most likely it'll be shelter in the form of rent or your mortgage repayments. So to put all of this together, you're thinking about the 50-30-20 rule. So 50% of your income goes towards needs. This could be groceries, food, shelter, transport to get to work. Then you think about 30% being wants. So you might go, well, I want to go and eat out every second day, or I want to get Uber Eats. These are wants. Could you cook your own home and have some tuna cans? Yeah, you could, but who wants to do that? So that's why you have wants there. And this is very important. We're gonna take a pause here because so many people will think about building wealth and say, oh, that means basically I won't have a life. I won't be able to eat out. I won't be able to see friends. I can't do anything. It's so depressing. Like, why would I want to do that? Let me just go and splurge my money. I'm in my 20s, my 30s and 40s once. You're right. It's only once. And that's why you've got to be very well prepared for what's coming. Because if you go out and spend all your money in your 30s, guess what happens in your 40s?
You're not having the big zinger box anymore. Probably just going, hey, I'll have a snack box from KFC because it's like $3.
By then it's probably worth $15, who knows. But the plan is that you want to have a balanced approach. So you take care of your needs first, peace of mind. Now you go into your wants and say, cool, I know why I'm doing this. I'm enjoying my life as well, smelling the flowers. And then you've got your 20%, which is going in and saving and investing. You keep to this 50-30-20 rule, which sounds so basic, yet most people won't do it. It will get you further in life if you don't have a budget already in place. So definitely follow something like this. Now, the next part of this video, I really want to focus on not just your budgeting, which is fundamental to this, it's also realizing the power of investing early and the power of something like real estate. Now, let's assume you guys have a 100K household income. Before you go into the comments and be like, 100K, who's making that? And is that before tax, after tax? This is after tax. And I don't assume everyone's making this. I'm just saying that majority of people that come to use our services, I'm basing it on that information. You could be higher, you could be less. And accordingly, you would work out the numbers. So in this case, 100K, $50,000, which would be 50% goes to needs, $30,000 would go to wants, and then 20,000 would be going to savings and investing. So what I want to focus here on is $20,000. Because if you realistically look at house prices where they are now and where they will be in 12 months time, $20,000 probably doesn't cut it. Now, if you're making more than this, you're happy. You're okay with that. But if you're making less than this, it feels like you're always going to be left behind. You get further and further away from your goals despite doing the right thing, which is I'm still saving $20,000 to go and invest. But if the market moves faster than me, there's nothing I can do. And this is where the importance of real estate is. You might be starting with zero in your bank account, and unfortunately, you're gonna have to go and strap in to save as much as you can to get started. But if you're someone who's already got savings and you're saying, well, I want to kick the can down the road, I don't want to get into real estate and whatnot, just look at the power of real estate. So if you're looking at 100K, which is after taxes, you're saving about $20,000 a year. But if you used that savings and you said, I'm going to buy a 400K property, and you might already have some existing savings, at 5% growth, that means $20,000 tax-free passively. That's on one property, right? So you might go, well, I'm saving to buy my own house, but the own house is going to cost you 8 years. You could go out there now and go and invest properly and could be building your net worth and position passively every single year. If you decide then in 8 years that you want to buy something, you could always go and sell your properties. You could take out some equity on some. Depending on what your borrowing capacity and your lifestyle looks like, you have choice at that point. But if you're someone that goes, well, I'm buying in 8 years, I'm just going to save my money, you just get further behind because what you can save versus what you can save by investing is going to be vastly different. And here's a classic example. If you go in and say, build a portfolio for $2 million, at 5%, you're making 100K passive equity. So when you think about it, that replaces your 20% portion that you would have to originally allocate for if you were making 100K anyway. And this does a couple of things. You could go out, spend more, whether it's needs or wants. So it increases your living standards. You're happier because you're spending more money on things that matter to you. And that might be donating that money, it might be spending more time with family, but the whole idea is to build up that machine and you do it with speed. Now think about it, how quickly can you actually build a $2 million real estate portfolio? Well, one of the questions you'll have is, to access $2 million worth of real estate, I need to go and find a bank that's going to be willing to give me a loan. Now, if you're pay as you go, chances are most banks will give you a loan, but you don't know if one bank has a better rate than the other because what's advertised online is not actually the right rate. You probably need to go to someone who's got access to policies from all banks and institutions. That's where the importance of a broker really kicks in. So you would go, okay, I could go in and see all the policies and I still probably don't get the best answer, or I just outsource it to someone who does it 24/7. And so you get to the answer a lot quicker because you used a broker. Same thing when it comes to depreciation, saving tax, what structures do I put, properties into? You go, I could figure this out, or I could go to the expert who probably has all these other clients they take care of. They can maximize tax incentives, they can go and structure it properly for what I want to achieve. So you go to an accountant, and the same thing happens for the right property. If you logically think about this, would you rather spend 1 or 2 hours and compete on trying to find a property versus someone as a buyer's agency who runs this all the time, every single day of the week and does multiple deals? No, you don't want to compete on that. I mean, who would want to do that? That's like effectively saying, I'm going to go run in a race tomorrow and yeah, I'm pretty fast, but I ain't Usain Bolt fast. And that's what I'm effectively going up against if those other buyer's agents are out there. And think about it, there's not just one Usain Bolt, there's like many out there. And that's the whole idea behind speed. So you might just go, if I want to find the right property, why would I want to sit there and look at data and say,
oh, this is days on market, I could just outsource that.
Now, if you do go out there and do these things yourself, you're probably going to research for about 6 months. I've seen it happen. I've seen people email me, and it usually takes a lot longer, but 6 months is being optimistic. Now, if you assume you're looking at the Perth market, and Perth has outperformed this year and it's been doing really well, you're probably getting about 15% growth in the year. Now, on a 400K house, that means $20,000 in 6 months. So if I start today and I start researching, if I buy in 6 months, it costs me $20,000 for that same property. Or you could outsource it, have no headaches, and then you're getting a better deal anyway, because there's probably client relationships there. There's off-market deals that are happening. So I don't know about those things. So in 6 months time, I will have a property already that's grown by $20,000. I extract that equity and now I've got a deposit starting to build up for my next property. So mindset is the key. And if you want to go further, you will need a team. You've probably heard this across all of the internet, like, okay, do I really need this team? Do I need this person? Do I need this person? Just think about you owning a football team. You would want your Beckhams, your Ronaldos, your Messis in that team, right? You want the best of the best. So if you want the best of the best to take you to the grand final and win what you want to win, in this case, financial freedom, you would need to attach yourself with the right people at the right time so you can get in with speed, execute, and then get to whatever goals you have in mind. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, smash that like button. I've got many whiteboard videos on this channel. So if you're interested in that, go ahead to the playlist on the channel and you'll find whiteboard videos. Enjoy the nerd talk. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.